Some of you may be wondering why we use the number system in all of our training and our teaching. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why we use the number system. So number 1 is to understand music theory. So if you've never taken a formal music theory class, then you're kind of missing out on all the musical theory that is out there that you can use to apply in your playing. Well, if you don't know how to read, then you're kind of missing out on all that stuff. Now, if you play piano, when you first take lessons, you learn how to read notation music, which all the formal music theory is based off of. But if you're a guitar or bass player, most of the time we learn to play by ear, just figuring out by using chord charts and stuff like that. And so we never learn to read music. Well, we're completely missing out if we haven't learned how to do that. Now, one way is to go back and learn how to read music, which is good. But another way is to learn the number system, because what the number system does is it gives you structure, so that you can organize all these notes that are kind of all over the place, and it puts it into like a mental grid so that you can organize, and there's some kind of divisions from note to note. And that's what the numbers are. I don't want to go too much into this, but that's exactly what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1, or 8, sometimes they call it, but it's the same as 1. But this is basically structure. It's the major scale, the interval system that will give you enough to understand music theory. Number two reason why we use the number system is to apply music theory. Now, the only reason why you want to understand music theory is to be able to apply it when you play music. I mean, understanding is really cool, but if you can't apply it, really, it makes no difference. I mean, you just know something that you don't know how to do, which, I mean, it's kind of useless. And so what the number system will allow you to do is once you understand something, you can apply it to your playing. And in the type of playing that we do, especially worship music, where we're just using chord charts, what we know about theory and how we can apply it is basically what allows you to do different things. And so when you know the number system, it's much easier to categorize your theory and actually execute it while you're playing. Let me give you a couple of examples. So for example, in modern worship songs, no matter what key, remember there's 12 major keys, no matter what key you're in, the number 4 chord sounds really good when you play the 4 as a major 7 or a major 9 chord. So no matter what key you're in, if you're playing something modern, you can figure out what that 4 is going to be, what chord that 4 is going to be, and play it as a major 7 or major 9. It's going to sound great. That's much easier to think about, 4 is a major 7 or 4 is a major 9, than to think through it as in, okay, if you're in the key of E, the chord you want to play major 7 is an A major 7. Or, if you're in the key of B, okay, let's see, I'm in B, then see, there's more calculations that need to happen when you're thinking of actual chord names. Whereas once you know the concepts of the theory, you can apply it just right there. I'll give you one other example here. The 5 chord, that's where the dominant chords fall in music theory. So you can use this theory knowledge to say, for a modern song, I'm going to play a modern type of dominant chord, which is a suspended chord. And no matter what key, if you're in the key of G, you're going to play the 5 as a suspended. And a lot of modern songs do that. Or if you want to sound more traditional, you can say the 5 is the dominant and it'll use the dominant seventh chord as the 5 position. That's where it's used most of the time. So if you're playing Amazing Grace, you can play the 5 as a dominant 7. It'll sound good. But it allows you to apply music theory much easier because it's all basically in the key of numbers rather than thinking of it in all 12 keys. All right. It takes me to my third reason why we use the number system. And the third reason is this. It puts all music in one key. So everything you play is in the key of 1. Number 1 is the key. Whereas if you're thinking music, you have to know all 12 keys. And especially for bass and guitar, where you're more thinking of patterns and shapes, like on the guitar, for example, there's 5 open keys, C, A, G, E, D. Each one of those keys has certain chords that, tend to be used when you're in one of those keys. Well, when you're thinking about in numbers, if you're using a capo, you can basically play in any one of the 12 keys using those same 4 to 5 to 6 shapes. Rather than thinking of chord names. I know so many guitar players that can play songs in the key of G, but in E, they can't play any songs. Well, if they knew how to play in a number system, they can use a capo and capo in different places and play in any key because you're only thinking of the key of 1. The bass is the same. A lot of times, if you just learn a scale pattern, memorize it with the number system, you can move that same scale up and down the neck, and the patterns will never change because you're only in the key of 1. And it's much, much simpler to think of music, to hear it and apply it when it's in one key, because every song you play or hear is in one key. You could even do this now on keyboards that have transpose buttons, and you can just learn one set of chords using the number system and using the transpose button, play it in any key, it's a shortcut, but it allows you to play music faster, which is a good thing for me. I think for you it would be too, because as you start playing is when you start getting motivated to learn the other keys, and you can go and learn that later. All right, number 4. Here we go. Number 4. The reason why we use the number system, it is the absolute best tool for ear training. And the reason why this is because of number 3. It puts all music in one key. So your ear gets trained to hear things all relative to 1. And once you start playing around and thinking this way, you'll begin to hear chord changes, note changes, all in relation to 1. So you'll hear, wait a minute, that chord progression went from 1 to the 4. I can hear that. Because remember, it gives you a mental grid, and it gives you organization, a structure to organize those notes and chords. So you start thinking, okay, I can hear that. For me, it's been incredibly useful because not only can I hear a song that I've never heard, and I can start hearing the chord changes, and I can actually chart out songs without even an instrument, because I can hear now pretty well that's going from 1 to the 6, 6 to the 4, 4 to the 5, and it went back to 1. And it's not something I'm bragging about, but after I've taught my team this method, they're able to do this as well. You start beginning to hear things. And one of the great things about ear training this way is once you can start hearing this, you will no longer need charts. Pretty soon you can start playing music and you can hear where the chords need to be changed to, what the next chord is, without even knowing and seeing it on a piece of paper. And it frees you up to playing from written charts. And you can just use your brain to guide you and your ear to be able to play without it. It's the best tool for ear training. And the last, all right, here we go. The last reason, and there's more, but I'm just giving you 5, is because it is easy to begin playing music, or I should say even more specific, to play songs. There's no other system where I can show you 5 chords, 6 chords, 4 chords, and in a number system on the guitar or bass, and you can begin playing thousands of songs within a matter of weeks. In fact, if you practice, you could play within days. Especially worship music. It's such a simple kind of form of music. You can play hundreds of worship songs with just a few chords in the number system and a capo on the guitar, or moving your just a little bit of music theory. You can start playing hundreds, if not thousands, of songs as quickly as possible in all 12 keys. There's nothing that's easier than that. And so those are my 5 reasons why we use the number system. Understand music theory. It allows you to apply music theory. It puts everything in one key. It's the best tool for ear training, and it's easy. So those are the reasons.